Hi, I'm Rick Paris. Welcome to Conscious Reality Creator. I wanted to talk today about power and where you're going to get this power, where you're going to get this new ability to respond. And I think the way that I want to communicate that is through talking about the paradigm shift. Because, we're not in the old paradigm anymore, or it'd still be working. We're not in a new paradigm yet, or it'd still be working. You see, whenever there's a change, there's a space and there's another space, just like when I died. It was very clear that there was a white light and I went somewhere else. And there was a space in between that I could float around and see what was going on. I wasn't really part of my body anymore and I wasn't really over there yet. And so the same thing is happening to humanity right now. We have left this, but this hums. And this new thing is humming. And the two things are overlapping right now. We're living in the worst world we've ever been in, and we're living in the best world we've ever been in at the same time, because these things are both humming. And since two things are humming, there's a chaos. And this chaos started way back in like 2000. Things started not looking right. 2012, big time. Now 2020, and we're starting to see this. It's time for a different world. So I want to explain a little bit of what this old paradigm is, what the new paradigm is, and where you're going to find the power to succeed and the power to be free. I want to talk a little bit about the old paradigm. The old paradigm was a paradigm based in struggle and shame and pain. No pain, no gain. That kind of mentality. It's a paradigm of domination, where the new paradigm is a paradigm of dominion. Having the understanding and the awareness that I can choose who I am, to take this mind that is supposed to carve emotions. In a perfect world, your mind is it's really only there to create beautiful emotions inside of myself and then see what these beautiful emotions do in the reflection that life is. But right now what we're doing is we got a lot of crappy emotions all hitting in the background, polluted our mind, polluted our unconscious, that now the world is showing us all the limitations that we have that we're not conscious of yet. And so the old paradigm, which started in the Renaissance, you see, you go through a change. You go from child to adolescent to adult. Humanity in the macrocosm is doing the same thing. It went from childhood to adolescence to adult. Adult needs to be a conscious choice in you. You can't go from adolescence to adult, like I've talked. Where does that happen? When I'm 18, when I'm 20, when I buy a washer, when I pay for my first car, whatever. That's not how you become an adult. But right now, that's what it feels like, because we don't have a line between the two. The Renaissance was humanity coming out of more of a human animal, waking up and realizing, oh my God, we have will. And then here comes church, here comes hierarchies, here comes God being a singular authority, because my will is a singular authority. It directs my emotional self. It directs where I want to go, right? I think, therefore I am. Really, you're be, and then you think, and then you are. It's really the other way around. But the Renaissance placed all this significance on thinking. Masculine energy. The masculine, just like when you become an adolescent, you're a little kid, you're kind of naive, you think it's magical when Santa comes and when the moon goes to sleep at night. The moon wakes up at night and the sun goes to sleep, and that's beautiful and enchanting. But as you grow up, you're like, that's not the way it works, right? The adolescent in you understood. The Renaissance was the point that the adolescent woke up and started taking charge and started exerting its will on nature. We don't have to be part of nature. We could dominate nature. We could get over the water. We could get anywhere. We could dominate the air. We can use fire. We can do everything what we want. We can do art that mimics nature. It was the adolescent coming to mind, a free person, to come up with these religions that were going to get everybody advanced and everybody free. These religions came out of a beautiful idea, but ideas are concrete while nature keeps moving. Boom, boom. So your idea that no matter how beautiful is in a wedge. It's in a spiral. Upward causation spiral is how nature actually operates. Everything always creates more space for everything else, and everything gets taken care of. But man has the only ability to struggle. We're the only ones out of harmony but for a good reason, because we have free will. We've evolved to the point where free will can supersede nature. I could destroy nature. I could create nature. I could supersede it. I could limit. I could do whatever I want. But we're not doing good things with it. We're not creating nature to support us anymore. We're using nature in a hierarchy. Like, we're the boss. Just cut those trees down and make some stuff. Yeah. We can make stuff for everybody. Yeah. And so you didn't realize that the adolescent is out of control. This world is a function of the adolescent. And I say this all the time. Look at the news. Look at the relationships going on. It's high school on drugs. You know, why do you think everybody's drinking coffee? They're terrified of the future, man. They're trying to jack themselves up so they could just live, just cope in the day that I have. So, you see, that thinking has ran its course so heavily that it's diminishing in returns now. It's like a flower. It blossomed in the Renaissance. We came into the Industrial Revolution. We did all these beautiful things, and now the flower is ending. But we don't have anything else because the next level is being self-authored, self-determined. Even though we didn't really know how to spawn to a win-win. It was about me winning, me being wealthy, me getting what I wanted. Now it's about, oh, it's you and me. You need to see that in the political arena. We want it too. We want to live a good life, and since you have one, we should. That's really seeing it through the eyes of limitation, that we're in the laws of thermodynamics and everything's in a state of decline and in a state of use, and it's not replenished. We're not really thinking free energy. We're not really thinking that nature obviously does. Nature obviously creates more space and more for everything around when it's supported. If we left it alone, it would be just fine, right? So the Renaissance opened the door. Now we've blossomed. That fleur-de-lis, that's the famous sigil for the Renaissance and for Florence, the center of the Renaissance, was that. 3 dimensions, coming from one space, going through the narrows, blossoming into a new space. That's what that represents, the fleur-de-lis. And so that was. Now it has to start over. You can't keep dominating. We've dominated nature so much, we're running out of everything because we're depleting it instead of lifting it. So the old paradigm is this paradigm of domination, and we're moving into dominion. You have to understand nature will provide everything we need if we know how to support nature. And it doesn't matter if your neighbor's not supporting nature. Why don't you support nature? Clean up your front yard, clean up your backyard, make it beautiful. That's all you can do, and that's plenty. If you do that and somebody else does that and somebody else does that, what if you have the most beautiful cared for yard, hand watered, no gardeners, you're doing it yourself because you love it? You'll have a very unique, beautiful experience, and somebody's going to get inspired. Somebody on your block's going to appreciate that and do it again. That's what I'm talking. That's the new paradigm, one of dominion, to just do the world the way I want it. Quit acting everybody else needs to change. Let me change who I am. Let me honor. Let me have the dominion, emotional dominion, and the emotional thinking, the dominion of thought, to have integrity and character, to hold who I am. This is a function of the new paradigm. You've got to start doing that somewhere. So essentially, you've got to become an adult now. So what we're doing is essentially moving from a cause and effect reality into what is called a causation, resonance causation. Resonance causation is basically, I create a space and I receive what it is. Like in that Kevin Costner movie when they said, just build the baseball, they will come. Just build it and they will come. That's really what we're starting to do now. If I'm in the right space and I create a space, I should receive what comes to that space. You're more creating spaces now. You're creating environments for things to thrive. You're creating an environment, and that takes a lot of attention to detail. Like if I'm going to fix up my front yard, how much sun do I get? Let me create the environment. I have to put the right plants in there that are going to thrive in the environment. So you're creating environments now. You're not really trying to control an environment. Let's just put more water. Let's make something grow here that doesn't really go. That doesn't mean you can't do that. But I'm just saying it's like you want to have an elegance and you want to have an ease, and that takes a lot of attention. Elegance and ease doesn't come without paying attention. So, part of the old paradigm is jacking ourselves up to function. Just to keep going, to keep thinking, like you put in all these kids on Ritalin. Part of the reason in this nature is moving, right? What are we doing with children right now? We're banging them through an education system. that all of a sudden in the last 20 years, people need Ritalin more and more. They need drugs to stay in school. They have learning disabilities. They have all these things. Because nature, we are forcing people down an avenue that is not natural. And so nature is reacting. Now we're having children that can't cope in a system. You can't just throw a child in the system anymore because the system is broken. It's not working. So nature is answering and saying, how about some kids that can't function? Now you'll change the system, right? Because you're not recognizing the pot that we put them in isn't big enough for the human being that they are. We've been doing this education. The problems we're having in society right now are a direct function of the educational system. They're a direct function of religion. Religion has, since the Renaissance, pretty much, since Dante, has defined you as being a sinner. You're damaged and you're not good enough, and there's nothing you can do about that either. You can't heal. If Jesus has to come here and fix you. That is the old paradigm. That's not true. You're a perfect individual, and the reason God's not here is because God got us all. Let us knows He already created a perfect individual. Since you're a spark of consciousness with all that they have in you, you have to own that. You have to discover the life, the gift that life is. You've been gifted an environment to play in, to have fun, but you have to understand how to work it. Right now, we don't understand how to work it, or it'd be thriving. So this Ritalin and these coffee and all these drugs and trying to take they got pills now to make me smarter so I could keep up at work above everyone else and getting multiple degrees. It's all about dominating. And now we've dominated each other so much, there's nothing left. There's nowhere to go. You can't buy a house unless you're a millionaire anymore. I just read yesterday you have to have an income of like $375,000 a year just to buy a house in the Bay Area now. Not too many people make that kind of money. I don't know how that market can't survive. They're coming up with zero interest, anything to keep that paradigm alive. I'm not saying don't buy a house either. All I'm saying is it's about domination. If you can go into dominion, you're going to have the capacity to feel yourself in a way that I am such a high-functioning person. Everywhere I go, everything thrives. I'm not separating from situations. I'm not separating for groups of people. I'm actually understanding that's a reflection of me. Those people are a reflection of my unconscious. That's why it's pissing me off, because it's impacting me, but it's bothering me. Why is it bothering you? Because there's something to be figured out in there why it's bothering you. Because nature is moving forward and you're not. You're holding on to negative belief constructs, negative ideas that were given to you through a school system, through a government. Our government is actually magical and amazing. I'm not going to talk about that, but not the government. Our government has the capacity to function higher if we choose it to function better. That's the beautiful thing about our Constitution. Excuse me. So, the Christian Judeo ethic has basically taught you that you're not good enough and you should be ashamed of yourself. And you see what's happening is when you're fed that before you're even conscious of yourself, when you're before 2 years old, before the terrible twos, you're still connected to mother. You don't even have your own mind yet. You're just figuring it out. And your parents think they're damaged. And they think they're ashamed. So they're giving you this before you have words. This is where most people don't feel good enough. It's not to control the environment and get only people around me that make me feel good enough. That's not going to work. You're not going to feel good enough anyway because you're going to create the reality that you're not good enough somewhere. Until you can own that how is an illusionary, reflective, objective reality going to show you that you are good enough if you don't have it inside? The dominion comes from having it inside and watching my friends love me, watching myself thrive without effort. That's a different way of thinking. That's a different way of being. And that's the only way you're going to get out of a paradigm that nature is squeezing down on you right now. It's dying. That's why there's chaos. When you're born, you're in a perfect place. You get squeezed out of the narrows and where it's fear and stress. And look, you come out of this and you come out into this amazing, huge universe. That's part of what you're trying to do right now. But now you're awake and you're self-authored. You're disconnected on purpose. So you can actually start authoring an experience. You can start realizing it's nobody doing it to me. It's me trying to create reality based on a set somebody else gave me. A very limited set. A set that is nobilized pain. No pain, no gain. Oh my God, yeah, I was a Catholic for 20 years and it was very painful. But when I figured that out, I got out. And you know what? I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all that struggle. No, that's you nobilizing the pain because you don't know what to do with it. The new paradigm must be self-authored, self-determined. It can't be self-authored, self-determined off the back of something that's dying. So you're basically running out of the burning house with no clothes. That's what it is to go. A paradigm is a completely different set. It's like if I could turn this camera off right now and I was sitting out in a forest, that's a paradigm shift. That's what's happening to you on the inside. And it's reflecting on the outside that nothing I do is quite working the way it used to. That's a paradigm shift. Now, we're in between right now. So if you start operating in this new thought, conscious reality creating, and again, because of the death experience, I know what's happening. There is no time on the other side, and I know where this is going. I know there's a lot of pain coming for a lot of you, and I know there's a lot of amazing living your dreams for many more of you. Reality is splitting right now, and you got to decide where you're going to be. If you keep trying to control and dominate and force that reality like everybody's done before us, you're going to be in deep pain. The only way that you're going to move into the new paradigm, and it's got to be something that doesn't exist. An old paradigm and a new paradigm have no relationship. There's no set. This is a set and setting, and this is a set and setting. This is a set and setting of domination. this is a set and setting of dominion. This is cause and effect. This is resonance causation. This is pain and struggle. This is learning through joy. You can't do it from here. You've got to be able to make that choice, just like you can't go from adolescence to adulthood. Well, I'm adult now. What changed? How are you operating? Where's the base? You have to be aware of the base now. You have to be aware of where my emotions are coming from. When I'm not feeling good, I have to take responsibility. I don't feel good about what you're saying right now. That's not because they're not saying something right or wrong. It's because you don't feel good. You have to find out why you don't feel good, not why they're making me not feel good. You're in the 99% when you're doing that. And you're going to find plenty of people agree. They need to stop saying and doing what they're doing. They're not doing. You're in the 99% group right now. You're not in the 1%. The 1% understands how to have dominion. They're not trying to control. You must let go of control to be in the new environment. How does that feel when I tell you you got to let go of control? All of it. And like I said before, if you opt for control, you lose your ability to imagine, you lose creativity, you lose love, and you lose freedom. You cannot control and have those, and all of those are how the new paradigm operates. So to let go of control, that I know how difficult that's going to be, and I know that you have to do it. It's not, well, when you do, that's really all it is. You will let go of control, even if it means you are homeless 2 weeks from now. And I don't have anything, and I don't need to control anything. But I'm not thriving anymore. I'm not understanding what's going on. I'm a victim. I'm a victim to a paradigm that doesn't work. So moving into the new paradigm is moving into the spiritual adult. Just as the Renaissance was moving into adolescence, humankind has to move. There's going to be certain people who move first, and everybody else is going to follow. If you're one of those people that can make that choice now and understand what I'm seeing, you're the one that's dictating where humanity is going. You are dictating evolution because it's happening this way. And I hope that every person that hears this video can understand that and want that and go for the ideal. Quit controlling, quit worrying about what everybody else is doing, and get right with yourself. Get right with nature. Get right. And you will feel right, and you will be better to those people. You will be better to nature. You'll be better to the animal, because you feel good. It's hard to be good to everything when you feel like everything's falling apart. There is no change without chaos. The greater the chaos, the greater the change. And right now, we have an immense to supersede ourselves in such a way right now. But you have to wake up. It's not wake up. It's you have to wake up. It's wake up. Not wake up. It's just wake up. It's just feel good. Find out how to feel good. Change the things inside that don't feel good. Nobody has to do that for you. That's you controlling. If you don't do this, I can't feel good. That's not true. When you start operating this new paradigm, from the old paradigm, this looks like a lot of work, and how am I going to do that, and impossible, and because you don't have the framework. When you can operate from here, it's the easiest thing you ever did. Because control takes so much effort. You are actually going against nature. Nature is trying to gift you with everything you need to be the God being that you are, and you have to resist it because you want to be in charge. You want to dictate what's going on. That's your ego trying to control the universe to keep you out of your power. And so when you do this, life becomes miraculous. You start understanding how free you can be, how honest you can be, how open you can be, how vulnerable you can be, how trusting and trustworthy you can be, how intimate you can be, how close you can be, how loving. Because this new paradigm operates on those feelings. And it operates on those feelings becoming deeper and watching the world change around me as I own these feelings. As I own these feelings deeper, I start feeling better about myself. I start feeling more hope for the world. I start feeling more hope for my friends. I start feeling more hope. And then you become a raft for everybody in your reality, because most of the people in your reality are not doing this. You can do it. You can be that other person. You can be that anchor for them. And it's not hard. All you have to do is be yourself. All you have to do is be filled with love. Not the love like, I'm just going to love, love, love. No, I know what love is. I know what you need. I know what I need. I could give that to you. I want to give it to you because I care. I care about me. I care about my planet. I care about my friends. I even care about the people who aren't my friends. And I am generating myself to be beautiful and to hold that space, because one of the hardest things to do is be an anchor when people are drowning all around you. But you know, the first people who become conscious, you're going to be the anchor, and not just for this, for all the generations to come. It's a new paradigm. You're stepping into a new, magnificent, beautiful, new revolution, something new, something that's never been. A human being acting from the position of a God being. It's miraculous to this. My life is beautiful, and so are so many of my friends. And we're all doing this. You're not doing it alone. You're doing it in your own place. We're doing it together right now, just by listening, just by being part of this. And so I want to fill you with hope. I want to fill you with the imagination. I want you to be inspired.